Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Rishi Studer. And a beautiful morning it is. Well, you've got your sunshine, and I invite you to step into the hottest spot in town, and that is Sunshine's Corner. I want you to sit back, relax, and do as I say every single day. Tell somebody when you want to know what's happening in and around Escambia County and the area of Gulf Coast, you've got it locked into the spot that's going to always cause you to feel whatever it is you need to talk about, you can feel safe doing it right here at Sunshine's Corner. And as always, I want to invite you to be a part of this conversation because it can be not a great conversation without you. And today it is no different. Every single day I try to bring you things that's most compelling to the community that's going to cause us to come even more together to make the differences and the changes that are so necessary. And today we've got two guests, and we are going to be talking about something that is utterly important. We're talking about this election season. And I am so pleased to have with me today, I've got both sides of the spectrum. I think that's where you can weigh things out. Let me say good morning and welcome in today, Mr. John Roberts. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
You are the chair of the Republican Party.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Glad
and
to
of
be
course, let's welcome back my good friend over there. We're talking about you, Derrick, and you are
Good
the chair
morning.
with the Democratic Party.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Thank you
Good
for
morning,
having
and
me.
thank you guys for getting up early because I believe conversation, talking is the best tool there is.
Absolutely.
I think that we can
Yes.
understand each other more if we would take the time to sit back and talk to each other. And the great point about it is we got to listen.
Absolutely.
To hear each other's side. And I want to start off because, you know, right here locally, I'm going to start off with this because we've got the primaries when? August what?
The 20th.
That is what, a couple of weeks away?
Yeah.
Is it really 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's about 2 weeks away. And with that election, because I know that we're going to jump over from the primary and go on up until the great big election that's coming up in November. But what I want to start off is I want to get the both of you, your views from each side, even about the local election that's coming up. I'm going to start off with you, Mr. Roberts, because this is your first time in with us. I want to hear what it is from the Republican Party that's coming up that we should talk to the audience about with the primary election right here in Pensacola.
Okay, sounds great. We are doing very well in this county. We have a lot of registered Republicans, and we're in a big lead, and we're very, very optimistic. We know that we're going to already elect the five county-wide offices are going to be Republicans because they're the only ones that actually filed. So we've already elected 5 of them, and there are some contests in some other places, and we are looking forward to those good debate on each of those. Republicans, of course, are the conservative party. We believe that Judeo-Christian values form the foundation of our society and in our government, and we want to make sure they are applied in a fair, honest, equal way to all people. And that's our goal. And we want to see civil rights enforced. We want to see economic opportunity given. We want to see people secure in their homes. And that's our goals. And I think a lot of people share those goals. So those are the things we're looking forward to expressing to the people.
Okay. And I'm going to slide right on over you. I see this smile on your face, Derrick. Okay, let's see what your reply is. Let's talk to you about it.
For locally, the good thing is from our perspective locally, we don't have a lot of elections that you'll see in the primary elections. All of our big elections will occur in the general election.
That's
so
right.
we have a slate of absolutely phenomenal candidates that are poised and ready to win this election cycle. We're looking at State House in both areas, State House 1 and 2. We've got some really great folks. Even at the county commissioner level, we've been doing quite well. You already know that we were elected at qualifying. We elected our county commissioner, Lumen May, for District 3. So we've got some folks, as well as on the city council. We are looking forward to what the general election will bring. Of course, for those who are on the Democratic side, the primary election for most of us will be focused on determining who our senatorial candidate will be to unseat Rick Scott this November. So we are looking forward to that. We've got some great opportunities. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of motivation, and a lot of enthusiasm. So we're excited. We're ready to go.
I think that's a great thing. But with this, and I want to say, what do you say to both of you when it comes down to really motivating people to come out and vote, because I know sometimes in some elections you hear people, I'm in the street and I'm out and about sometimes, oh, I'm not going to vote in this election because I'm not going to do, it's not going to make a difference. I'm not going to do this because they're going to do that anyway. What would your words be to say to everybody, both sides? Because I'm like this, whatever may be by your name, if you're going to do the right thing,
yes,
that's what's most important.
absolutely. I have children, I have grandchildren. I tell people, I show a picture of them, and I say, this is why I'm involved, okay? Because I want the best for my children, my grandchildren, and for everybody. We do not want to have a society that's crafted that's going to be harmful to them. We want to make sure they have the things that I just spoke about, the opportunity, the safety, and those values. And we want to make sure they're there. So I think about your own family. Do you care about them? Do you care about the country? And people say, yes, we do. We want to be involved. And we've got a lot of enthusiasm on our side right now.
Right. I think we got that enthusiasm is growing, flowing really big time on the other side, too, because everything I read, it is flowing through the top of the roof. What do you think about that, Derrick?
For what I would say, from the Democratic perspective, we are a big tent party, and we represent equality for everybody. We want to see the United States, as well as if we bring it down to Northwest Florida and the state of Florida, for everybody to remain prosperous, healthy, and safe. That is our goal. That's what we look for, and our candidates reflect those values.
Right.
We have folks who look to govern and represent everybody in the state of Florida, not just a select few individuals, not just certain demographics, but everybody. And that's what we are seeing. And as we have moved in these last, it cannot be missed over that in these last few weeks, the excitement level has grown. Out of the roof. We are very much in a position that we are looking at the opportunities. So I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Everybody is ready to go. The level of enthusiasm, the volunteerism that we've seen has been through the roof, and we're looking forward to what the selection
when you
cycle
say
brings.
that, I want to hear from both of you with this excitement level, because I heard you talk about the excitement and how with your party everybody's so excited. We know that the enthusiasm is there because we've talked about that several times. What do you attribute that to? Why is it now? Because we talked several weeks ago that enthusiasm was not there as high, and now I see it. I mean, even just in conversation when I'm out and about, I see that the level of want to change or I want to do has changed on the side of the coin 100%. Why do you think that has happened so right now?
Well,
what do you think about that?
I think it's been a little more consistent with us and our group. There's been a lot of enthusiasm throughout the year. It is growing, there's no doubt about that. But the issues are driving it. People think, how do I want to live in a society with the values that are trying to be imposed on us? What about the border? That's causing a lot of consternation with a lot of people. Why aren't we doing something about that? Why aren't we trying to fix that? They look at the economy and they see the inflation. They see the high gas prices. Why aren't we doing something about that? That's what people are asking. We need to fix that problem.
Right.
We need to fix other problems that are out there. We see the crime nationwide. We see those types of things happening, and people want to get involved, and they see the wrong policies being imposed right now, and we want to fix it.
Right. When you say wrong policies being imposed, what do you mean?
I mean that the types of many things. We see the changes in the management of the border. Okay, we want to finish building the wall. We want to restore the Remain in Mexico policy. We want to make sure that we can have the equipment down there to catch the people who are bringing the fentanyl across. We want to stop the people who are criminals and coming into the country, and we want that problem fixed. We want those things changed. We see people being killed in some cases by people who shouldn't even be in the country right now. Those are concerning people, and those are issues for it. We see homelessness in some of the cities controlled by the other party that is not being dealt with, or it's being dealt with, we think, in a very, very wrong way. So people are excited about trying to get things fixed and trying to see progress, and that's what's driving it. Yes.
And I saw your face. I want you to really tell me what I see.
I think it's interesting that my colleague here points to those things. He talks about the managing the southern border. We talked about and we saw a bipartisan effort that was squelched by the Republican nominee Donald Trump to fix or help to mitigate or resolve the issues that we see around the southern border. I think Americans, as well as Northwest Floridians, are tired of hearing the rhetoric and the talking points of the things that truly just aren't occurring.
Right.
We heard Mr. Roberts talk about the issues with the fentanyl. We've seen a reduction in the amount of illegal substances that have come across the southern border, but yet we keep hearing the talking points. When we've had an opportunity to resolve these issues, we saw opposition on the other side say, no, we don't want it resolved. The Republican nominee said, no, let's not do it. So that bill was squelched. I mean, we've heard the Speaker of the House and the former Speaker of the House say just that nation. Let's look at where we are locally, right? We live in Escambia County.
Absolutely.
We live in the state of Florida. We see Floridians having a problem every day, having an issue with being able to afford their own homes. We see property tax and property insurance skyrocket, which making Florida one of the most unaffordable states that can be lived in these United States. Let's look at who in the last 20 years has been in charge of the state of Florida. It is a Republican led state. We've seen it in a supermajority at the state level in terms of the legislature, as well as the governorship, and yet Florida is still unaffordable. You can't attribute that to Democratic leadership. That's not that. So we have to understand, and we have to know that Floridians are looking for something different. They're looking to see a change in their pocketbooks. They want to be able to eat and afford groceries and pay for gas. You can't attribute that to Democratic leadership. So there's a time for a change. They see candidates that are looking forward to stepping that up. And let's be clear. In the state of Florida, this is the first time in 32 years, if I'm not mistaken, that every seat in the Florida legislature, if we look at the Florida House as well as the Senate, is being contested in this democratic process. There's time for a change, and that change is coming. So I think the state, our citizens here in Escambia County, desire change, and they're looking forward to expressing that in their vote.
Mr. Roberts, I see your face now.
Yes.
I got to come back because I was waiting. I wanted to give him the opportunity.
Absolutely.
I know that you got something you want to say. Come on.
Absolutely. When they talk about somehow Trump stopping this change the board, that bill that he's referring to was not a very bipartisan. There were a couple of Republicans that were initially for it, that's true, but very few. And all that bill did actually was give more money to the borders so that they could process the illegal aliens faster, getting them in the country faster. That's the only thing that would have achieved. Just push them in faster. That was not a problem. That was not a problem to be solved. That was simply creating more problem. Okay, so no, we didn't support that, and that would not have, I don't think it would have passed anyway. It certainly wouldn't have passed through the House, and it wouldn't have passed through the Senate if we'd chosen to filibuster it. But in any case, that was not a solution to the problem. That was simply creating more problem, exasperating the problem, making it worse. So that was not a positive thing. And when they talk about the fact that Florida has Republican leadership for many years, that's absolutely true. And the state of Florida is doing very well in our state government. We keep a balanced budget. We keep taxes down. We are not responsible for the inflation that's occurring in the nation wide. We're affected by that, true. The inflation rate that was 1.4% under the last day of the Trump administration, which skyrocketed to 9%, and now they're talking like it's good because it's down to only 3.5% to 4%. That's still not good. We need to do a lot better than that. And the policies of the Democrat administration have pushed inflation higher. You can't spend $2 trillion that we don't have and not expect to have a lot of inflation. So that's what's affecting Florida prices. That's why it's hard for people to buy their groceries. And the oil, the anti-gas movement within the Democrat Party is what's driving up the price of gasoline. They're the ones that canceled the XL pipeline that would have helped to get more natural gas into the country. They're the ones that have stopped additional drilling on federal lands. They've taken a very hostile attitude to the production of oil and gas, which are still needed in this country. We were energy independent in the Trump administration. Now we're having to import from countries that are very, very hostile to us in many cases. They have not helped the problem. That's happened nationwide. It's not Republican leadership in Florida that caused the price of gas to go up. It's the national administration under the leadership of Biden and Harris that caused that.
Okay.
So let's not blame those things on the state of Florida. What would they do differently? How would they lower the price of gasoline here? You know, there's no solution there. Sure, we all like to see the price of gas to be less, but we need to have more production for that to happen. And our opponents have fought that, and they're still fighting it. And Kamala Harris is still saying she wants to stop any additional drilling on federal lands, which has vast amounts of oil.
Wow.
So as long as they continue that anti-oil energy policy, we're going to see high gas prices. That needs to be changed at the national level. Don't blame the Florida Republicans for what the national Democrats have done. But thank you.
So
Okay,
it's
now,
fun.
we are into a very deep conversation. I want to invite the audience, because we have phone calls on hold. Stay with us. Do not go away, because we're going to get you involved in this conversation as well. But go ahead. I want to go back to you because you were really jumping out of your seat.
Yeah, no, the first thing I want to do is make sure that my colleague and everybody else knows how to pronounce Madam Vice President's name. Her name is Kamala, not Kamala, but Kamala, right? That's there. He mentioned, he talked about the lowering of gas prices, but he said that the Democrats have raised it, but then he turned around and said that there's no solution. And to their point, that it makes sense, because we know that the president doesn't control gas prices. That's OPEC. So let's be clear to the viewing public when we're making statements, especially when we're signing ownership and responsibility. And you know, to the point of we talk about inflationary and who's in charge. We know that the market is represented, and under the Biden administration has been at its all-time highest. So it's absolutely ludicrous to say that the economy is not thriving under a Democratic leadership, because we know that the Dow has never reached the highest point in its history than it has under President Biden and Vice President Harris. And to the point, when we talk about gas prices and grocery prices in the state of Florida, I don't think most Floridians measure the success of the state based on a balanced budget. They measure it based on whether or not they can afford their property taxes, they can afford their property insurance. And we've seen the insurance companies flee the state of Florida at rates that have been unprecedented. And that is a direct result of Republican leadership. That has nothing to do with President Joe Biden, because there are insurance companies in the states that are surrounding us, and they're doing just fine. So when we look at the state of Florida and we see the mass exodus of insurance company and our Floridians having to be on Citizens because they have no other alternative, then we can attribute that to Republican leadership. And that's the thing that we need to make sure that Floridians know. When they can't afford and they're losing in this hurricane season, when people are concerned about a storm hitting and then their property insurance lapsing or their coverage going away, they have one place to look at, and that's the Republican Party.
Everybody, please, I tell you, I appreciate everybody, because the phones are really, we got several calls on hold. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And immediately when we come back, we're going to go take these phone calls so we can get everybody involved in this conversation today. When I say Sunshine's Corner is the place to be, you tell everybody when you want an open conversation, when you can feel comfortable talking about it, this is what you do. You log into Blab TV Monday through Friday right here, Sunshine's Corner. We'll be right back.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Many who consider facial plastic surgery are concerned their results will look unnatural. But with over 20 years of serving the Pensacola community, his thousands of satisfied patients have made Dr. Derrick Jones a trusted reconstructive and facial plastic surgeon known for industry-leading results that look natural. Call 850-484-FACE to schedule a consultation at one of our locations in Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
I'm Dr. Derrick Jones. Trust your face to a facial plastic surgeon. Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services is a one-stop shop because you can come get your windshield replaced, and right behind that replacement at the same appointment, we will calibrate the cameras, and when you leave, everything's ready to go. There's no need to go to the dealership, or there's no need to come back for another appointment. We just take care of it at one time. We put the customer first, and we strive to do everything right the first time.
Lloyd's Glass and Correct Calibration Services, your one-stop shop with same-day service.
Animal Allies is looking for volunteers, and there are many ways that you can help. From taking care of cats to using your computer and social media skills, any and all assistance is greatly appreciated. We have morning and afternoon shifts every day or help at adoption events. You can even foster a kitty at home. And it counts towards community service hours for bright futures. Find Animal Allies Florida on Facebook and Instagram, or go to aaflorida.org/volunteer.
And welcome back to this Hump Day edition. We're talking Wednesday. As you always know, I call my Wednesday my inspiration day, and I'm inspiring you today to think positive, to go out, make a decision, and vote. That's what it's all about. Let's go to the phone lines who has some questions today. Good morning. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
I was calling in to listen to the two chairs.
Right. You're on the air now. You have a question?
Oh, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, then I don't understand, but I will go to the next call. You got to watch this on TV, hon. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Sonshine. Good morning, Sonshine. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
I want to let you know that today's roundtable is just a great informative subject matter, and I truly appreciate it. And I have a question for both guests, Mr. Derrick Scott and Mr. John Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask them on their opinion. Do they believe that the southern border is a hot topic for one party over the other party, because they feel like that once all these individual people come in from these other countries, if they do become citizenship and they become voters, that they're going to be voters for one larger company, and that's why it's a big smoke screen that's being produced out there.
Would you like to take that first, Mr. Roberts?
Well, sure. We believe that's a big problem. Yes, it's something, a huge problem for the country to have millions of people coming across the border and they're unvetted. We have a very welcoming immigration policy. The Republican Party is very pro-immigration. We have about 1 million people a year become legal citizens in this country. Mm-hmm. These are people who come in legally, they go through the process, and they become citizens, and they are some of the most patriotic citizens we have. In fact, we go to the naturalization ceremonies that are held in Pensacola 4 or 5 times a year, and we honor them because they are good people and they want to be Americans and they are going through the process illegally. And we are glad for that. We do not support those who want to come in illegally. There's no reason for that. Why would somebody need to come from Mexico or South America or Asia and come illegally in this country when they can simply go to their embassy and get permission to come in, okay? Get a visa to come in legally. That's what they need to do if they want to come to America, and our administration should enforce that law. They should say, you didn't get a visa to come in. We allow people to come in. We have millions of legal aliens living in this country, probably in the neighborhood of 14 million, but they're here legally. We're supporting that, but we do not support 11 million people who have come in illegally, roughly during the last 4 years. That is not the proper way to do it. Do it legally. We have a process, and we can see when this happens, we get terrorists, we get MS-13 gang members, we get people bringing in fentanyl. I'm sorry, but 80,000 people dying from fentanyl each year is still a huge issue, okay? Maybe it went down a few thousand from the previous year, but it had gone up greatly over the last 4 years. That's a huge issue, that people are dying from the drugs that are coming in through the southern border, which is not simply being properly controlled and enforced. And we need to change the policies, get them back to where they were when Trump, and get control of our southern border and make sure that we are not allowing people to come in illegally. Do our best on that. So it's a big issue. And when the opposition is saying, oh, they want to give all kinds of benefits to people coming in, they're actually giving incentive. They're giving incentive for people from other countries to come into this country illegally and then get a variety of welfare benefits and so forth when they come in. That is not helpful. That is not helpful at all. That needs to be changed big time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see your face.
Yeah, no,
your face speaks volumes.
It's funny. I get that all the time. It's funny. I actually thought you were going to answer that a little differently, but you actually said the quiet part out loud, which I thought was interesting. That you suggest that people from the southern border crossing over the southern border should be vetted. I think the policy on immigration would hold a little bit more credence if you made that comment for just immigration across the board. We know that fentanyl is not coming in leaps and volumes across from the southern border. And in fact, and you keep re-emphasizing the misleading talking points, more fentanyl comes in from the northern border than it does from the southern border. In fact, under Biden's administration, that number has decreased by 53 or 54% of fentanyl that's coming from the southern border. Now it's coming from the northern border, and we know that, but yet we still focus on the southern border. The fact that you talk about being inclusive, yet you said you prefer people from the southern border being vetted, that talks about immigration. Well, why not people from Europe or any other country? It just seems like you're focused on vetting or having people who are black and brown who are coming from the southern border, not having them being in crisis. The statement that the southern border or people from Mexico or South America or Central America, they're opening up their mental institutions and jails and outpouring them into the United States is absolutely ludicrous. It's false, it's a lie, but yet it's something that you all continue to propagate. It makes you sound bigoted and unfortunately racist, and you can't talk about equity and inclusion, but yet that process or that policy doesn't include everybody. It's just odd. But when I look at it, yes, we're not focused on, to answer this question, we're not focused on immigration at the southern border. We know that immigration is an issue. We are working on that policy and making sure that we have a fair and equitable policy for all immigrants across that enter into these United States. And the fact that you would say that Democrats are looking to give welfare benefits or benefits that are eligible for United States citizens to give them to people who don't have proper citizenship is absolutely ludicrous. It's something that I would wish we could have a conversation on, legitimate talking points and issues that are facing Americans and not false rhetoric that we talk about as we move forward.
We have another phone call. Okay, good morning.
To people who don't have
good morning.
citizenship. Hello.
Yes, I'd ask you please turn your TV down. When you call in, I'll ask you to please turn the volume on your TV down because you cannot talk with the volume up. And I still hear the volume. If you can't turn the volume down, I'm going to have to go to another call because we can't talk that way.
No, I can turn it down.
Okay, please, thank you. But today is a day that we're having a conversation that I think we should have more often. Okay, yes, sir. Now I can hear you clearly.
Okay. I just wanted to, basically talk to John Roberts here. He mentioned about, why are we not drilling and why are we, buying oil from countries that, we might even have issues with here. And I just wanted to set the story straight here a little bit. In 2022 there, the U.S. exported about 9.5 million barrels of oil per day versus importing 8.3 million barrels a day. So we have been an exporter of oil here for the last few years there. As far as importing oil, oil comes in different qualities. There's good oil, there's bad oil. And so, sometimes, we have to import oil because we probably need the higher quality oil versus the lower quality oil. And again, in terms of a free market global economy here, oil is different prices from different countries here. So what the U.S. is doing is basically looking at the world market and saying, hey, instead of my oil at $50 a barrel, I can buy it at $45 a barrel from Saudi Arabia. So why wouldn't I do that there? Again, it's a free market economy. As far as drilling goes, additional drilling, over the last number of years here, we've had new technologies. Well, it's called fracking and side drilling, and so the oil companies are finding out that they can get a lot more oil from existing wells than they have in the past. I certainly don't think that our government would take the position that we're not going to import oil or we're not going to drill more wells and make the public suffer, by excessively high gas prices and maybe even not being able to use our cars and trucks to drive to where we get because of the gas shortage.
I understand totally. Okay, let's have them address what you're talking about. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir. And I see. All right, thank you, everybody. I see that you have different. I see I can see. I read expressions. Both faces were talking to me so loudly. And John.
Well, I mean, Kamala Harris has promised to stop additional drilling. She's also blatantly opposed fracking. So has Joe Biden. They said they want to do away with fracking. So the ideas that he presented simply are going really on our side. He's actually supporting the fact that we do need to have fracking. We do need to drill additional places sometimes, and we need to let the market decide. We've got so much oil on federal lands, we need to just open them up and allow the private market to come in and drill where they believe it's feasible, and things will get better. Why have gas prices gone up so much since Biden became president? Because he has this war against the oil industry, because they blocked development of oil. They're trying their best to stop fracking. They haven't stopped at all, but that seems to be their goal. And they simply do not want us to be able to develop our own industry. If we develop things and we go back to the policies we had under Trump, we would see gas prices decline. And we're not going to do that if the present administration continues the policies they have now. They are forcing the gas prices up. And even worse, they tried to take oil. They took a lot of oil, about half the oil in our reserves, which are there for emergencies, and he did it just simply to try to help lower the price of gas temporarily. And it did a small amount, but he's also now cut our reserves in half, and we don't have that available for an emergency, a true emergency. So all their policies are geared away from development of good energy, and they almost bragged about it. So it's hard to imagine why that we think that somehow these policies are going to be helpful. And I do have to comment just on that one comment. People coming up the southern border are not just coming from Latin America. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from communist China. They're coming from Africa. They're coming from Europe. They're coming from all over the world. Yes, and the whole immigration issue is important to us. So I did not say that we're just concerned about immigration from Latin America. But the southern border is opening up. We find people from all kinds of countries, all over the world. So it's not just a matter of that. And yes, we believe we need to have good controls on the northern border as well. So it is a big issue on immigration. But go ahead.
Yes, go right ahead. Everybody, we're having a great conversation. If you'd like to be a part of this conversation, feel free. You can call us at 850-432-7768, or you can text that number as well. And plus, don't forget that we got to go back and answer the texts that came in earlier. But go back to you.
I was just curious. You mentioned the current administration's policies. What specific policies have contributed to the increase of gas prices? Because I will tell you, gas prices, as we all know, I don't practice revisionist history, so I certainly hope you don't as well. But when we look at it, gas prices were on the rise under Donald Trump. The economy that we are in as a direct result of the administration of Donald Trump. Nobody is interested in going back. So I'm curious to know what specific policies under the Biden-Harris administration have led to the increase in gas prices, especially when we know that OPEC controls the price of gas.
OPEC does not solely control the prices. There's a worldwide market, and OPEC is a big part of it, but they aren't all of it. They're certainly not part of the United States and many other countries. But I mean, here's the interesting thing. President Biden and Kamala Harris have actually bragged about how they're going to stop the oil industry. We're going to prevent it from expanding.
Yep.
We're out to do that. We're out to stop fracking. We're out to go to pure, what they call green energy.
Right.
They're pushing that very hard. And they've done a number of things. Again, they canceled the XL pipeline, Keystone XL pipeline, day one. He stopped that. That was huge.
Right.
And that caused thousands of people to lose good paying jobs, and it caused at least a future reduction in the production of natural gas. And that helped. Anything you do that reduces the production of energy is going to drive up the price.
So we don't look at the environmental.
They have also stopped. Kamala Harris has also said she wants to stop offshore drilling. Stopping offshore drilling would be a disaster for the country.
Okay.
And they've also denied many drilling permits on federal property. So they're taking a very hostile attitude toward the American energy industry, particularly the oil and gas side, and those are driving up the prices. And that's what needs to be reversed.
So I'm curious.
The prices under Trump were vastly less, okay?
Well,
and this nonsense.
Vastly less is a misnomer.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This nonsense that somehow you're going to blame Trump policies from 4 years ago for the gas prices today is utter nonsense.
Well, we understand that the economy suffered when we don't attribute the current economy right now as we look at it to the current president. That's absolutely absurd. We know that that's simple economics. In all of the economics classes that I took at the University of Florida, that's not how economy works. But if you have a different outtake, I would love to entertain that conversation. When we look at that, we are seeing a rebound of the economy getting into the positive due to the efforts. We look at chips and sciences, when we look at Inflation Reduction Act, when we look at all of the policies set forth under the Biden-Harris administration, that has attributed to where the rebound economy, where we're getting to in a record amount of time to get us to a point where we can see that the Dow is at its all-time highest that it's been in this economy. That has absolutely nothing to do with Donald Trump and the Donald Trump administration. That has everything to do with the Biden-Harris administration. We look at chips and sciences. We look at the policies that has been set forth under the Biden-Harris administration. There is no contest that arguably that the Biden-Harris administration has been the most successful administration in the history of these United States. And to suggest otherwise would be almost laughable in this case. But I am curious, when we look at trying to restore, as the right would like to see, what the values are and the economy are, where that looks to, and more specifically, how does that impact Floridians? What are you looking to do? What is the right looking to do that will be a benefit to Floridians? Because we can get lost and we can talk about all the talking points. We could talk about fracking. We could talk about this, but let's look at what the people in Escambia County, which is where we are currently, the constituency that we represent, how does that impact in their pockets? What are you and the candidates that Donald Trump, or even specifically, because we know that all politics are local, what are the candidates that you set forth in your platform doing to help better the lives of Floridians in Northwest
Now, before
Floridians?
you answer that question, we're going to go to a break and we're going to come back, okay? We're going to answer that question. And we are also going to take reference to the text message that came in regards to our Project 2025. If you've got questions, if you'd like to be a part of this conversation, please feel free. 850-432-7768. You can call or text, and I invite you to do so. This is where you can be safe doing it, right here, Blab TV with Sunshine's Corner. Need a new outfit for a special occasion? Look no further than Viola's Men's Apparel. Viola's has been providing the latest styles and accessories in Pensacola for over 20 years now. We have clothes for every occasion, and we offer consultations and group discounts. You can trust that our care, quality, and class will be unmatched. Viola's Men's Apparel, for all of your men wear needs.
This is Wayne at Icon Automotive in Robertsdale, Alabama, and I wanted to tell you more about our powertrain warranty forever. It comes with any vehicle we sell that has 80,000 miles or less at no additional cost to you. We put our vehicles through a tough safety and mechanical inspection before it can have the powertrain warranty forever, giving you a peace of mind with your purchase. This warranty is good anywhere in the country, and it covers 100% of parts and labor with no mileage limit, and is covered as long as you own the vehicle. Come pick out your dealership car at non-dealership pricing with a powertrain warranty forever at Icon Automotive.
Watch a new episode of Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m., hosted by Sergeant Melanie Peterson and David Craig. Your tips may be eligible for a cash reward, featuring items about officer training, various aspects of police work, and crime prevention information. You'll hear about upcoming family-friendly engagement events as well. Don't miss Crime Stoppers Wanted Fugitives every Friday at 6 p.m.
Go back to being a kid again. Head on over to Bubba's Sweet Spot. We've got house-made caramels, fudge, pralines, marshmallows, and lots and lots and lots and lots of chocolate. Looking for more traditional candy? We've got you. Our walls are covered head to toe in all the classics, from taffy to gummies and lollipops to gumballs. And don't forget our ice cream. With endless toppings and dipped cones, we've got what you're craving. Let us take you back to a time when every problem could be solved with candy. At Bubba's Sweet Spot.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're talking about Sunshine's Corner. This is where you can have the conversation that causes some people to cringe, but right here you can be safe and have that conversation. I encourage you to make sure you be a part of it, because this is what we do. How can you get to a different solution without talking about it openly? And we've got two guests today that are doing just that. We're talking about Mr. John Roberts. He is the chair with the Republican Party. And of course, we've got Derrick with the Democrat Party. He's also the chair there. I want to go back to the fact, the question you were asking, but I do not want to overlook, because we had a text earlier that was in reference to Project 25. And I know one question was just, how do you feel about it? What are the benefits of it? And is this just another way of being dictatorship? What do you have to say about that?
Okay, the Heritage Foundation, a great conservative foundation that deals with public policy. Every 4 years, they come up with an agenda of items that they think would help apply conservative principles to our government. Things would help to get the budget under control, to balance the budget. Things that would help to stir up the economy, to get it going in a better situation, things to reduce inflation. And yes, there's a lot of things the federal government can do that can cause inflation. And like what my counterpart here said, a lot of things can also cause inflation as well. And there are many proposals in this. And again, they do this every 4 years. It's nothing particularly new. Good policies that we can do that will help our nation to grow economically, to be more sound in our fiscal policy, so we don't have this growing national debt, which is a huge problem for our children. So they have done this every 4 years. The Project 25 is simply a continuation of that. Now, they were suggesting that all these huge spending things such as the American Rescue Plan or the misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, which did nothing to reduce inflation, but is doing a lot to stir inflation. These bills and many others cost not billions of dollars, but trillions of dollars. They are increasing the national debt. They're increasing the money that we have to spend to pay interest on the national debt. This is weakening us. Ask the average American family about what they think of their grocery bill when they go there. I don't think they're going to say, oh, it's just wonderful. We're so glad that the Biden administration has cut the prices of groceries. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say, hey, when we go to the gas pump, somehow the Biden administration had nothing to do with that. People understand that is the direct result of federal policies to reduce the supply of gasoline in the United States that are causing that. They want to put all this emphasis on what they call green energy. Hey, we're all for green energy if it's feasible, okay? If we can get more solar energy, that would be fine. If we can get more, even nuclear energy, that would be fine. But it has to be feasible. We should not have the government go in and subsidize one over the other. We should let the market work, and we'll see progress because of partly technology, and that will produce increases in our standard of living. We do not want to see these huge multi-trillion dollar programs coming through that are not helping people but actually causing problems. We're seeing inflation exceeding the income that people are getting. Some people are getting raises, yes, that's true, but they're not keeping up with the rate of inflation. So people are losing, they're not getting ahead. We want to see inflation put under control, and federal policies have a direct bearing on that. So yes, one of the things we will do is stop these excessive multi-trillion dollar spending projects, which simply are not helping the country. They're hurting the country, they're causing inflation, and they're reducing the power of the money that you are getting. That's something we definitely want to stop. Project 25 is oriented to do those policies, among many other things.
But I'm going to let you answer because I have something that I want to ask in regards to Project 25. Go right ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just, that was about a 2.5 minute question to an answer to a question that wasn't asked, in my opinion. She asked about Project 2025. That was the direct question, and what the benefits were from that standpoint. And what we see, and my interpretation of what you just said was a masterful deflection of the answer. It seems like the Republican agenda at this point in time has tried and is currently trying to distance themselves from Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation. We see that is, let's talk about how it impacts people in Escambia County, Northwest Floridians. We have one of the largest veteran populations in the state of Florida that live right here in this Northwest Florida. Project 2025 seeks to reduce and eliminate all of veteran administration benefits that people who have gone to war. No, it is. Let's be truthful on what it does, right? We eliminates all of the the VA benefits that people who have sacrificed their lives, their bodies, and their time, sacrificed their families. People have lost loved ones. People have gone to war for this country. You seek to reduce and eliminate that. It looks at a privatization of things that are considered, that we have worked hard. We talk about eliminating and reducing Social Security. It talks about putting back or reducing, taking away this cap on insulin that has been successfully done at $35 under the Biden-Harris administration. They want to do away with that and put it into Privatization Act. It's a 925-page document that seeks to take America and put it back. So when we look at how this impacts Floridians as it impacts people in these United States, it is detrimental and disastrous. The best thing that I think Republicans and the Heritage Foundation could have done is promoted Project 2025, because it is disastrous. The American people know it, and when we look at where we are in terms of the enthusiasm amongst voters, they don't want to see things that they have worked so hard for go away, and that's what that seeks to do.
Absolutely not.
Let's go to the phone line first, okay?
Total
Let's go to the
distortion.
phone, okay? And we got several people that's holding on. I want to make sure we recognize those people. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good. I would like to ask a question for the gentleman, or make a point.
Yes, ma'am.
On health care.
Go right ahead.
Oh, yes. My question or my concern is that I'm dealing with, or want to make some points on our current representatives. First of all, Rick Scott, our senator, has been working hard and even introduced a bill to take away Medicare and Social Security. Mm-hmm. This is one of his 11-point plans for the country. He actually introduced a bill to do that. I don't know what he plans on our seniors, including myself and many others, to do without insurance, Medicare, and Social Security. These are not entitlements. These are things that we have all paid into for years, and the younger generation is paying into as well. So this is a real concern. The other ones are Mr. Andrade and Matt Gaetz. They have been totally against expanding Medicaid in our state. We are one of 9 states out of the entire country that has not done that. Mr. Andrade has spoken about it and written about it. Matt Gaetz I talked to personally a few years ago and said we need to do this for our low-income people that are making too much money to get on regular Medicaid, but they don't have enough money to afford any insurance premiums. And he he in my face, this is person to person, he said, well, people have to work for this. It's like, what do you think low income means? So this would save the state millions and millions of dollars. It has been proven by many studies, but these two seem to not be doing that. We have good representatives that are running against all three of these people. They're supporting health care for all in our Floridian states, and when they go to Congress and the Senate, they would work to get health care for people. This is essential for this country and for the health of our people. And I have seen it personally. When people don't have insurance, they die.
Okay. Well, thank you, ma'am, for your call. We're going to have them address that and get you your answers, okay? Thank you for calling.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody, we're going to come right back because I tell you, the phones are ringing, but we've got to, I got to take this other commercial break. But keep what she's talking about in mind because I want you to address that as soon as we return. Right here, Sunshine's Corner on Blab TV.
I just remembered it's election day. Are you going to vote?
I don't know. I don't think I'll have time today.
Millions of eligible voters in America never make it to the polls or even register to vote. When you don't vote, you're letting other people make decisions for you and pick the things your taxes will pay for. Voting is more than a civic duty. It gives you a voice about the priorities and the future of your community and our nation. Voting gives you a seat at the table.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
The Reesburg Institute, Pensacola's ear, nose, throat, and voice center. We welcome you to visit us at our convenient Davis Highway location in Pensacola. At the Reesburg Institute, we offer the most advanced treatment available in a calm, stress-free environment. Since 2014, we've performed over 1,000 cases in office of balloon sinus surgery, as well as septoplasty and nasal procedures using oral sedation. The in-office procedures result in a faster healing time. Visit us and feel the difference.
Hello, my name is Eric, and this was my first visit to Little John's. The selection, the pricing here, and the customer service were outstanding. I would definitely recommend. The staff was very friendly, and they'll get you what you need.
Hi, this is John with Little John's Big and Tall here in Pensacola, Florida at 5700 North Davis Highway. Check us out at littlejohnsbigandtall.com, where we can take care of you with extra large up to 14X and large tall to 6X tall.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner. I tell you, this hour has flown by as if it's a jet just streaming by so fast. But I'm going to do this to be fair because this person here was really holding a long time. And I want to make sure. But sir, I ask you to please, sir or ma'am, make your point as quickly as possible because we're down to the last 5 minutes. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you.
My question to both both chairperson there. Why is it so hard for each chairperson to, mostly the Republican said that President Trump had did anything wrong. I never hear nobody say that nothing he did wrong. They won't admit to it. They're afraid or what. I listen to a lot of TV news scandals, and they always say that. Everybody's scared to say wrong, but I like both counties to admit that both their president did something wrong. Nobody knows anybody did it wrong.
I understand. We're going to have them address that. Thank you so much, sir. What he's saying is the fact that I think what he's relating to is the fact that the former president has been found guilty of so many felons, but they yet don't want to acknowledge the fact that he was found guilty by the American people, and yet they feel why is it so hard for them to say that and yet trying to get him back in office? But there are other felons who can't even exercise their right to vote, but he could be president.
Well, of course, he was convicted of one felon, not many, and that was a farce. The trial was just a kangaroo court. and he was convicted, and it's almost certain to be overturned by the higher courts because it had so many flaws in it. They did not allow some of the testimony from witnesses that would have been for Trump, and they blocked that. They gave false instructions to the jury. It was a farce. All it was saying in a record, somebody wrote down legal expense, and they were trying to say he should have written campaign expense, even though it was a payment to his lawyer. That's a sole thing that they said he was guilty of, and they're trying to make a crime out of that. Actually, that's a misdemeanor in New York, and in fact, it had expired, that the prosecution limit had expired several years earlier. And then he tried to add that he committed another crime, but in fact he's never been committed another crime. So the whole trial was a farce. It was a farce. Yeah.
Go right ahead.
You'll never hear me not say that President Trump didn't do anything wrong. That's ludicrous. I don't know how we get 34 counts is equal to one felony, but whichever, however you look at it, math is math.
Because there was just one.
But it's 34 counts, right? So, but when we look at it, he is not the person that needs to be running this country. We will continue to move forward, and I will continue to argue that Madam Vice President Kamala Harris is the choice, the people's choice, and we've seen the energy and enthusiasm resonate around her campaign.
She's not the people's choice. She got exactly 0 votes. 0 votes in the primary. She is not the people's choice.
What do you mean? She
got 0 votes in the primary. Joe Biden got 14 million votes. Yeah, well, and basically, you've kicked him out and put her in, even though she got no votes in the primary. So you didn't even hold a Democrat primary for president in Florida. The Republicans did.
Yeah, because you had options. You had options. We voted to put Joe Biden on the ticket. You're absolutely right.
Well, you didn't vote.
We did vote. I'm a member of the Florida Democratic Party. We did actually vote.
The people did not vote.
No,
you refused to allow a Democrat primary because basically you don't really like democracy, I don't think. And that is
okay. I see where we're going with this, but however, but that's I see where we're going. But we're down to the end of the show, and I want to say this. But what we want to say to the American people today, I mean, be it whatever you may personally think. Let's go out and exercise our right to
vote.
Absolutely.
That is the moral of this, because you, the American people, will make the decision.
Absolutely.
You, the American people, will make the final decision. So I say to you today, first of all, let me thank you for coming in. I know we just got to have a continuation. I hope that you all will be open to that. That if I get back with you so we can come back and finish this conversation. Because we're down to 89 days, and there are so many things that we have not even had the opportunity to touch today. But again, I say, before we leave the airways today, my American people here on the Gulf Coast, Northwest Florida, I cannot expound on this more strongly, to please exercise your right to vote. This is how you can be heard the loudest. When you want to be heard, exercise your right to vote. Make sure, don't let anybody cause you to think or sway any other way. I've got to get out of here, my friends. It's been a fantastic day, a day that's filled with nothing but power and information, and you've got the power. So until tomorrow morning, I'll leave it as I do every day. Never, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember this one thing. If you keep God first, you'll be a total success. So until then, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Wishy Studer.